This year, the judges of the Cannes Podcast Festival presented the award Best Podcast by a new director to Soul of Detroit. It's the story of a man who went looking for America and couldn't find it anywhere. Soul of Detroit stars M.L. Elric.
You do your own thing in your own time. You should be proud.
Also starring Mark Fellhauer, the award-winning director of Easy Rider. Co-starring Shawn Windsor.
What you represent to them is freedom.
What the hell's wrong with freedom, man? That's what it's all about.
You asked interrogative question around my face. It's gone.
What are you doing?
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hola, mes amigo. Es su amigo viejo ML Elric and the soul of Detroit.
Wow, thank God you had Google Translator for that.
You know, Google can tell you what the words are, but they can't help you with the fantastic pronunciation.
And you know what? They usually pick the wrong words, too. It's more very strict as to what they choose as opposed to slang, right?
Like more of a formal presentation?
Exactly.
Okay.
And the reason you're doing that is because you're not here again, but we'll put that aside. Where are you at for everyone listening?
So for those who may think this is a dereliction of duty, I actually think that it's an inspiring rise to the challenge to reach you from La Fortuna. That's the fortune to those of you who aren't at La Fortuna, Costa Rica, where I'm riding motorcycles with a good friend of mine, Sergei, who recognized my deep and horrible and crippling pain from the utter and brutal rejection from the voters of Detroit after I risked everything, like everyone everywhere, especially sports writers, and said, you know what? Why don't you come and jump on a bike, and we'll ride around Costa Rica for a week or two. And after hesitating for no time whatsoever, I said, let's do it. So right behind me, you see El Chiripa or El Chiripo, which is the local pronunciation for a big-ass mountain shrouded in clouds in a very beautiful part of one of the most beautiful Central American nations you'll ever find.
I got to tell you, that's not a bad silver lining to losing the election. There was an email that came in from Michelle who was kind of talking about the first city council meeting. And I think if it was me, I'd rather be where you are than on Zoom for that meeting.
Who's Michelle?
Someone that emailed into the show. She emailed you too, but I mean, you're in Costa Rica, so they don't have email there. Okay.
Yes. No. Well, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to get on city council was I wanted there to be a voice of reason among the chorus of chaos. But perhaps that's just going to continue because there isn't somebody there who is going there to get some stuff done. But back home, you heard his voice, award-winning director, producer of the show, Mr. Marc Fellhauer, pulling it all together. Joe Zuver, once again, defying all the odds and beating all the naysayers except those on Facebook. So we are live on YouTube. We encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ML Elric, so we can get the hell out of Facebook because it is evil and changing the name does not change its heart. On the axis of evil, we also have Shawn Windsor there in Ferndale. And here with me in Costa Rica is Sergei M. Morris, a guy who had never ridden a motorcycle before, had never spoken Spanish before, unless you count whatever he said at the Taco Bell drive-thru, who chucked it all to get on a bike and ride from Oakland County to the tip of Peru. And along the way, he's looking for love, snakes, and fame. Mr. Sergei Morris, one of the craziest bastards you'll ever meet, but also one of the sweetest souls this side of the glass partition.
Yeah. So minor correction, Argentina is a lot further than Peru, but so I'm going to go down to Argentina. Originally, I was going to go down the very tip, but I think maybe I'm going to bail at Buenos Aires and just kind of say I tagged the country, loving the trip, but also not sure I want to live this way forever. So,
like most smart people who have been around and around the world, he heard just the tip and said, "No gracias." You know, the thing is, no matter where you go in the world, the Caju Cafe is always worth talking about. They're all booked up for those feather bowling parties for 2021. But let me get you thinking about the new year. Book your post-holiday party in January at the Caju. The lanes are booked through the end of 2021. But if you want a private bar to host a New Year's Eve party, contact the Caju Cafe. You can find all their information at cajucafe.com. They still have opportunities for you to take 2021 out with a bang, start 2022 right. That's your pals at the Caju Cafe, where they have live music all the time. They have DJs. They have lots of entertainment, great Belgian delicacies, a fantastic tap where you can find our friend Altus, I believe, either in the cooler or on the hand-drawn beers there. And, I mean, it's not hand-drawn ale, which is really good, but it's very nice Detroit original lager. It's all there at the Caju Cafe, an East Side institution. Find out more at cajucafe.com.
So, Sergei, what was the inspiration for this? Because ML just said you don't speak Spanish, you don't ride motorcycles, so why?
Well, I do a lot of weirdo, crazy travel anyway. And I'm a guy who, I don't know, I think it's a stupidity, but boundaries, challenges. I mean, I don't think I steer into trying to get myself in trouble too much, but I definitely have a sort of jolly stupidity to go and try stuff. So, you know, if you want to know a real keyword for pissing me off, it's like, I hope you find what you're looking for. I mean, I'm not looking for anything. I can't is the biggest compelling reason. It's other than the long timeline, it's not super unusual for the wackadoodle kind of crazy. I mean, I go to a lot of remote places and stuff like that too. But no, I can manage my job online. My house is taken care of. I dropped off my kid at really that was the starter pistol, was dropping my kid off at college and realizing I'm an empty nester completely and free as a bird. So yeah, the biggest compelling thing is that I can. And I was saying, yeah, I think I'm going to ride a motorcycle to. Let's put a range on it. We'll go maybe 2 weeks, maybe a year, maybe Argentina, maybe Toledo. I don't know. So I can is the biggest thing.
And you were lonely, and that's why you asked ML to come with you?
Yeah. Well, it was more of a charity case for him. By the way, he claims Irish heritage, but I think he's you know what his name means in Spanish? It means the Rick. El Rick is, or as I've been calling him, M-A-L in country.
So you joined in I assume you flew into, what's the capital, San Jose, and then drive off from there.
It's actually called San Jose.
Oh yeah, San Jose. And so what kind of things are you two doing down there? I mean, it's kind of cool. It's a buddy trip, but it's, kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I wanted to
first
have
of all,
good mix.
trying to remember how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah. What are you riding?
It's a Kawasaki KLS 650, and I've done everything to my bike. I have a whole bin of parts, so I know how to repair everything on it almost. And so we got Mike the same ML. We got him the same thing. We rented in San Jose, and so just we have breakdowns or whatever, but they're good bikes. They high clearance. It's the right bike for the trip.
Well, Sergei, how long have you been on the road now? When did you leave? And because it's you've already gone an incredible way through Mexico and everything else in Central America, pretty much.
So whatever the math is on September 9th, idea came up, me and my boys, realizing I'm an empty nester and I can do it the hell I want. And I can work from anybody, anywhere, and thinking about I could manage the house, just kind of, I call it this black hole conversation where all my life got sucked into it. So yeah, I think I'm on day 90, but from that first lunch with my boys, starting to brainstorm, to 3 days later, I bought a bike. And then 10 days after that, I got certified with my endorsement. And then about 6 hours after that, I was on a bike. So
it seems like a really weird time to travel with COVID.
Yeah, and he forgot to mention that not long before that.
I got my lucky shirt where the tears all match my.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess they're not there. I'll tell you about Hall Financial. Refinance your home right now with Hall Financial. You might even be able to close your loan by the new year. That's how quick they are. That's how fast they are. And they can get you a free 5-minute mortgage review right now. Listen to what all their great people have to say. Here's a previous client who said, I couldn't have asked for better help getting my first home purchasing from them. They were prompt, professional, caring, and quick. They felt like they put me first when I know they have tons of other clients. So check them out. You won't ever be on hold too, like when you call a place and next thing you know, 20 minutes has elapsed and you're still listening to the same damn loop over and over. You can chat with the team right away, 7 days a week. Call 866-CALL-HALL, or you can go online simply to callhallfirst.com. Can't say enough things about them. I know ML has used them in the past twice, 2 times over for his homes up in East Lansing. So as they're trying to reconnect down in Costa Rica, it's just me by myself waiting for Shawn to reconnect from the bathroom. It's right when their internet went out, Shawn, is when he decided to go up. I believe ML's back now.
Pretty sure I am.
Yeah.
You tell me.
There's Sergei. So have you run into any problems? Because, some people, you think of Central America, you think of danger and murder and all these people fleeing their homelands to come here to the United States. I mean, what has it been like to traverse that area?
Okay, so I'm slapping my forehead because, yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of problems. There's dangers and annoyances. I'm not in love with the narrative that the worst 5 things about a place define the country. And so, for example, Mexico, all the cliches are true for sure. They have terrible problems with cartels and corruption and drugs, and I mean, name it, sure. But we have school shootings, and we have political unrest, and we have and the looking down your nose at it is a little narrow-minded, and also. I'm very comfortable in different cultures and different challenges, be they social, mechanical, bureaucratic, whatever. Well, it's just a different set of rules. If I say I'm going to Colorado camping in the snow, that can be very dangerous. Hypothermia, they got grizzlies, getting lost, whatever. But people say, wow, that's amazing. I say I'm going to go ride through Mexico, and immediately they go for those worst things. Well, in Mexico, it's not a good idea to ride at night certain places, ask around a lot. You might have trouble with the police that are not super well paid, that there might be some extracurricular little bribery stuff going on, spot fines or wink, wink, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But the rules are different, and so learn the rules, pay attention. And, there are something like 1.5 million Americans that live in Mexico. And somehow they survive every day, And so, back to I paid, so far, I think I might have just paid 2 bribes,
Really?
Someone at the border. No, more than that. Anyway, but one was just
that wouldn't have happened if I was on Mexican City Council. there would have been no bribes.
Yeah, well, I paid,
no mas bribas.
So we paid a Nicaraguan cop, me and another guy was riding overlander to Argentina as well. A couple of us that link up once in a while. We each paid him $20, and we got our money's worth, man. We gave him a show. We were so confused, and we were there for a half hour or whatever. Anyway, that's their system. You get on board and you expect it and you understand it. On the other hand, I got a couple of tickets before I left my home. I couldn't deal with them. I was gone. So I paid a lawyer to take care of it all. And, my bill was, I don't know, $600 because I'm paying for a lawyer to process it, and and I did what they said and whatever. But then in Nicaragua, it was $40 cash for 2 of us. It's just a different system.
So to those of our listeners in Nicaragua, I just want you to know, I was not there at the time. I had no knowledge of this. I don't condone this kind of conduct. We have a fairly large Nicaraguan audience. I just want you to know that I would if I was there, I would have stopped this.
Well, at least ML, you joined him on the part of the trip that is, Costa Rica's fairly westernized. They have no problem. They have low crime rate, right? So you haven't had to do any bribes. What kind of stuff are you guys doing down there?
We're riding motorcycles and drinking some beers, but not at the same time because I'm pretty hardcore about that. We've been hiking in the I'm going to call it the rainforest because some people around here call it. Maybe other folks call it the jungle. We've been seeing some crazy creatures, some toucans, some howler monkeys. Wherever you look up from where you've parked your motorcycle, and there are monkeys in a tree screaming.
That's awesome.
We went searching for one of the deadliest snakes on the planet. I didn't know that was going to be part of our agenda, so I'm going to let my surprise laden friend talk a little bit about that. And then we went kayaking on a big crazy river with the Costa Rican Charlie LaDuff. So it's been a pretty action packed less than 5 days. Is that right? Oh, and we went to the worst sports bar in Costa Rica before we came to La Fortuna, Sports Bar Jackie.
Why was it the worst? What was so bad about it?
They only had 3 things to eat, all fried. The volume of the football game was so loud that the players themselves were like, "Can you turn it down?" And they were playing halfway across the country. And
that sounds like a sports bar.
And they only served Pepsi.
No booze.
We couldn't drink because we were riding, but we couldn't.
But no Coca.
That was a classic. If you ask me, that was a classic experience where people have a lot of ideas about locals living close to the earth and eating the best food, and people that are at different humble levels of economic strata, they just eat crap. They eat Lay's potatoes. Like some places, they're harvesting from the forest and it's amazing. Other places though, it's just like the grade D stuff that McDonald's turned down that they'll fry for 3 hours and then throw on a plate. And that was a very local experience. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
So why did ML have to get why did he have to get a snake stick before he left? I mean, what is the deal with this whole snake thing?
So I try to ease into that with civilians by saying, like, what did you love when you were a kid? Because there's something weird we all are interested in or whatever. And you probably still do love it from when you were 10. And for me, that was reptiles, snakes, turtles, lizards, stuff like that, crocodiles. And so when I started traveling for work, I was out in LA one time and I realized, wow, I've never seen a rattlesnake. Went out in the desert, found a rattlesnake. It's amazing. It was awesome. For me, that was a cool thing. It's just something that stuck with me. And then that morphed into a little travel company that I helped found in Malaysia. It's all shut down right now. But I will say I do love snakes. Yeah, weird thing. Reptiles, crocodiles, stuff like that. But as well, it's a proxy for adventure. I've been a little annoyed on this trip. I really haven't had time to get out and seek wildlife, but also it doesn't matter. It's just a reason to go to cool places, meet cool people, and get in situations that you otherwise wouldn't unless you had this arbitrary mission of trying to find, what he was talking about, which is the fertilance, what I would call the black mamba of the Americas. A really, really athletic, smart, crazy, strong, super toxic snake. So just cool stuff.
So just so we're clear, Sergei was trying to find this snake and I was trying not to, but we were together at night in the jungle. Hot. And
how romantic.
And because Sergei, was all very sweaty and all very
homoerotic. Yeah.
So Sergei is a very social cat. And so he met this guy the first night we checked into our place named Arman, who does a local wildlife rescue. And together they help release an injured caiman back into the wild, which for those of us who as youths were excited about found copies of Playboy and not snakes, is a small alligator, as best I can describe it. And then we also checked out a boa constrictor, which had been macheted, which is pretty wild.
By the way, Mike, Mark really is the director because he just asked me to ask you.
Trying to get you involved, Shawn.
He just asked me to ask you if
you were job hunting down there.
Yeah.
Actually, I have contacted a couple of people about potential employment, but in my last foray into the wild, which was Chicago, I found out from the New York Times that the fact that I ran for office means I shouldn't even bother to apply for a job.
Really?
So, yeah.
Unless you want to write guest op-eds.
They just said, don't waste your time, son. So that was not offered as an option.
Wait a sec. Are you surprised by that? Because I feel like I see ex-politicians, people that actually held office, not just run. I feel like I see them in the media all the time.
Yeah, no, I knew that was one of the risks, that if I didn't succeed, it would be tough to go back. And so far, that's proven to be the case. But I also put in my application to start doing some substitute teaching. I've talked to a couple of buddies who own bars, and I made 10 bar for a while. I mean, I'm not in a hurry to jump into any job. And I've been offered a couple of spokespeople jobs by some people. I've been offered a job selling commercial real estate broker. Some weird stuff has come up, but I'm taking my time to try and make the right job to pick something that hopefully will make a difference. But at some point, I got to pick something that's going to pay the bills. I'm sorry, we don't have a cough button out here.
Well, it's just the Costa Rican COVID.
What about? Sorry, Mark. A couple of quick thoughts here, Mike. First of all, was it just the New York Times, or do you worry that that's just going to be newspapers in general?
I'm not really eager to go back to newspapers to do what I did before. If I went back to a newspaper, it would be to do something very different, hopefully to try and change the culture, because it's desperately in need of that.
Yep.
But I'm not looking to necessarily go back to journalism. We'll have to see. But I see CBS is starting a new local news operation. That would be kind of interesting. I don't know what they've got in mind, but that's any new thing is always exciting. They have not contacted me here in Costa Rica, and I don't think it's because they know I'm in Costa Rica. I think it's because they've seen me on TV and said, yeah.
You're talking about WWJ TV 62 here locally. They're launching into the whole local, which I'm kind of surprised by, because they've really resisted it for a long time. And is there enough money for them to do that? I was kind of surprised to see that, but good for them. I'm sure it'll be done very cheaply.
But then getting back to the idea of the spokesperson or public relations in some way. I remember, a long time ago, you had an opportunity to go that way. I don't know, 15 years ago? I can't remember exactly how long. But does that still interest you? Something like that, getting on the other side, so to speak? Because a lot of people in our business go do that, as you know.
So I lost some of what you were saying, Shawn, because of our connection. But listen, I had to be careful about what I would say for myself. And I'm not looking to mince words for somebody else. And I
could see how that that is interesting when you work for someone else and you got to watch what you say, even as a columnist. I'm sure. I mean, you're responsible, Shawn, to the Free Press, to what you say, to a bit, right?
Yeah, I'm not writing a blog, right?
I would never want to be a spokesperson for a company or an entity, because first off, anything you usually put out is just kind of bullshit, spin, which is, I find annoying, but that's a tough gig, because you say the wrong thing. Next thing you know, you're costing your company money. And that's not something I would want to do.
Well, Mike, if you got into it, you're right, if you got into the corporate world that way, but if you got into, on the university side, or maybe in politics, then those kind of jobs often help shape strategy a little bit sometimes, and even policy. Right, you're in a lot of meetings.
That doesn't fit him, though, man. That's not something he would want to do.
No, he strongly considered that side of it a long time ago, and that was my question: would he consider that again? But we're having technical.
He's waving, so maybe he's ready to respond.
So listen, I truly believed in Kwame Kilpatrick in 2001, and thought he'd be the greatest mayor of my lifetime, and really wanted to go work for him as a spokesman. But even then, I couldn't do it, because I just couldn't speak for somebody else. And when they told me to say things that I knew were not exactly right, I wouldn't be able to do it. And so one of these folks who contacted me just before Thanksgiving, in fact, I was on my way back from the butchery when we had this conversation. And if you're doing your holiday shopping, please check out thebutcherysl.com there in Sylvan Lake. They are closed Monday and Tuesday, but doing great business every other day of the week. I was able to have one of these conversations that you can have with someone only when you have no plans whatsoever to take that job. And this person, it's local elected official, considers himself something of a truth teller, a straight talker. They want to try and clean up some corruption in their office, some of which I exposed when I was in the media. And I said, I just don't think I'm the right person to speak for somebody else. And this person told me, no, I'm looking for someone to say that. And I said, well, here's the problem is, and I use these terms because again, I'm like, this is house money. I don't care about this job. I said, when you step on your dick, I'm going to go out there and say, so-and-so stepped on his dick. And this person said, no, that's what I want. I'm good with that. That's what I want.
Yeah, right.
Only once did I not speak when somebody advised me not to, and that was a mistake. So I'll always own up to it. I said,
bullshit.
You know what? That's what everybody who steps on their dick says until they step on their dick. And so I said, I just don't think it's a good fit. But I said, hey, if we're both still looking in January, let's talk again. And then somebody else contacted me about a communications job, and I said, again, not probably the right fit for me, but they said, well, there may be an enforcement aspect to this. And I said, oh, so that would call upon my investigative skills. So we'll see where that goes. But I really just want to try and do things that help make a difference. And I don't know where that will be. I don't see that opportunity in all candor in the local media, but perhaps somebody has an opportunity that I'm unaware of. But
well, looking at you, it's clear you should just team up with Sergei and just start some kind of exotic travel agency and just, he's making a face. What? No?
Yeah. This dude jumped off a moving vehicle to grab a Cobra. So,
yeah.
No, we'll ride motorcycles.
Well,
but,
you should be his spokesperson then.
There you go.
Well, the problem is he's one of these guys who'd say, you can be my spokesperson, but you got to go with me wherever I go. I'm like, Costa Rica on motorcycles, that's cool. West Africa, sticking your arm down a pit to try and pull a snake out of it, not my Noes Bueno por yo.
Sergei,
but if you want to know more about his adventures, there's a place to find out about it.
Where?
So right now it's a page we're starting on Facebook called Biker Ferper Gringo. It's FERPER, Biker Ferper Gringo. And really haven't launched much of it. I have I'm actually a writer. This whole trip is a story that'll end up being a book with any luck. But yeah, I thought we were training you up to be Grubhub driver in San Jose on the motorcycle thing with the big box on the back there, Elric. I thought that was the job thing.
It rains here too much for me to do that on a regular basis.
It's true.
Where else have you gone? I mean, do you do the dark travel? Would you want to do like North Korea? Because I would love to go to North Korea. I think it'd be fascinating.
I've done a lot of weird off-road travel last year. Literally last flight out of Nigeria.
Oh
wow! Barely got out. That's pretty dicey. North Korea, though, to me, like failed state kind of stuff is not so much fun. I'm not super curious about someplace so locked down and socially, like everyone has a gun to their head and has a gun to the head of their neighbor. Not sure I love all that, but that was a little wrong side of safe last year. Me and my son riding Bogdri Freeway. We were originally going to do motorcycles then too, but never rode before, other than like a couple hours in West Africa. But as far as dark travel goes, sure, yeah. Borneo in like a jungle hike-in camp, and done a lot of Asia in the last couple of years. But really just off-road weirdo stuff with my little pen light looking down into a water reservoir on the porch of some old lady in India looking for a venomous snake somebody said was there. Really off beaten path stuff. And again, that's something that wildlife does for you. You can go take a picture of the Statue of Liberty, but if you have a mission, if you have something you're going to do, you get right into the culture. You see things people just don't see. And so that's that's something I've been lucky with and have had that I do a lot. Yeah. So
2 days ago at midnight, we're walking through a swamp, going under a barbed wire fence, so this guy can try and find caiman. And I'm trying to keep up without spilling my can of Imperial. So this is a different kind of cat, and he's got a lot of wild stories, and he ain't done yet.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm so bummed we didn't find a caiman there. I want to show you
I was good with
around.
that.
Like, there's such I'm telling you, it's as far as the panic and freak out, it's really a letdown because you're in control the whole time. It's just way over there. It's up to you to approach or not. It'd be pretty small, but the stone head on these things, they get beat with a ball peen hammer if it grabbed you. I mean, it's really they have a second eyelid. Like, they're crazy, amazing animals.
They're like tiny crocodiles.
What's that?
Aren't they like tiny crocodiles? Aren't they?
Like 6 foot long.
Well,
I mean,
pussy.
Here's what you need to know. Did not spill a drop.
Well, congratulations on that. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, well, with a powerful headlamp and 2 guys cutting through the bushes for you, but
Well, see, I'm envious of that because I had my headlamp on Saturday, but that's because we were without power for 6-7 hours thanks to the windstorms and DT's wonderful infrastructure. So that's what my headlamp is getting used for, to walk around my house just to unplug things and bail water out of a sump pump and all that crap. So, I mean, I'm honestly, I think.
Come on down. I'm going to be in Peru next, and then Panama, then Guatemala, then Peru. But
I got to tell you,
pick a country. I'll see all my friends. So.
Sergei, all I'm thinking is, I can't wait till I'm an empty nester so I can do some of these things, right?
Yeah.
But I guess that's it takes money too, and that's why I got to keep saving up. And if you want to be that person to keep saving up and need your money, how's that for a segue, Shawn? Do you approve?
That's great.
Call our buddy Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748. Luke will tell you, don't overreact. The market's very crazy right now. He's going to provide you rational financial advice. He's going to let you know what equities, what bonds, how to allocate your 401k, all that stuff, so you can have a good strategy so you can someday, when you're an empty nester, hop on a motorcycle and drive someplace in the open and search for snakes with your buddy who's too scared and just doesn't want to spill his beer right behind you. That's Luke Nowacki, Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748. Let's see if ML will finish it. Because he's totally frozen. Shawn, because Luke Nowacki will
not help you.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Inc. Member FINRA-SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates Inc.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Although I kind of figured out one reason not to go away from the city, and that's internet access is a little spotty, huh?
Can be. I mean, shoot, it can be that way here.
If you do business with Luke Nowacki, he'll make it all about you, sweet Corazon.
Too late, my man. Who's your geek of the week?
Well, we all respect our service members, but it's got to be the students at West Point, the military academy,
the cadets
who kidnapped Bill, the Navy's mascot goat. Now, that's bad enough because they signed a contract or a pledge back in 1992 that the service academies would not steal each other's goats or mascots. But this is the second time they tried to kidnap Bill. The first time, they got the wrong Bill. They got old Bill.
Aww.
And after that, the general who runs the cadets said, we won't do this again. But then they did do it again. And they said, as they've said every single time, that they're very sorry about this. And this may seem like a silly, crazy prank, but the Navy has done it to the Army, kidnapping their mule. And the Army has done it to the Air Force, kidnapping their Falcon, which I really would have liked to have seen, because that's not the kind of thing you just stick your hand in a cage and say, Polly want a cracker.
And you got to make sure you have that little helmet for them too The little falcon helmet.
Oh, the hood, yeah, and you got to have your falconing glove on. But
a lot of work.
They actually injured the falcon who survived. But for these hijinks that put animals in danger, but more importantly than that, violate the oath that these folks take. These are people who take an oath and take it very seriously. They have an honor code for violating your own honor code again and again, even after you got the wrong critter. You're my Geeks of the Week. And I'm in an undisclosed location, so don't try and send a drone strike after my ass.
But that's what happens when you add college football to the mix. I mean, you don't have much rational thinking. And I don't know, Army-Navy played last weekend. Navy upset Army. And I don't know how to take that game because I'll put it on and I'll watch it, and I love the pomp, the grandeur of the game, the military, all the colors, how they're dressed. That's all fun. And then kickoff happens, and I realize that this just is bad football, and I don't really want to watch it.
So
although Navy occasionally and Army occasionally gives Notre Dame a game, don't they? I mean, sometimes they rise to the occasion.
Yeah, rarely. Navy usually is who's Notre Dame's rival for some reason.
I was going to say, like, on a competence level, like, they're cadets, so maybe we can cut them a break, but, like, aren't they supposed to be better at guarding shit? Like, how does that work? I mean,
guarding their own mascot,
or on the other side, like, let's not get in trouble in Nicaragua, and hope that they, got to come, get the right guy, right? I mean, I got a lot of questions about all that. I don't know.
That is a fair point. I didn't think about that.
You get the wrong goat. So, okay, we're going to go get El Chapo. First of all, you got to give Sean Penn a heads up so he can get the hell out of there. And you end up getting El Guapo instead. It's like, come on, guys. You got to let's be mission focused here.
They haven't graduated yet. Sean, do you like the game? Do you like the Army-Navy game?
I did in the 70s.
Yeah, when they were better, when Staubach was there?
Yeah. Well, he was there in, the 60s.
Is it overblown?
I don't know. I mean, you could say that about a lot of college football, right? It's tradition, and that's why we do it. And the president goes, and normally, and that sort of thing. And these days, it gets its own weekend, right? I mean, game day was there.
Yeah.
But no, it's part of it.
I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, why if you don't like the football, then why do we go watch high school football on Friday nights? That's not. Well, a lot of us do. That's not college football. Why do you watch Michigan, Ohio State? It's nowhere near the level of the NFL. All right.
I know Michigan's never going to beat Ohio State.
You can't, or Auburn, Alabama, or whatever. I mean, the best of college football is still several levels below the best of the NFL, even the worst of the NFL.
ML, I thought for sure your Geek of the Week would be the Associated Press again for naming Harbaugh the Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I just assumed that was some misreporting that we heard here in Costa Rica because the guy has these top-rated recruiting classes. We can't get to do dick. And they finally win more than third place in the Big Ten East, and he's Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
How about all these assistant coaches? Why don't you make them Coach of the Year because they finally got him there? No. Your Coach of the Year is Mel Tucker.
Gaddis was the assistant. He was the Broyles winner for assistant Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and I guess that's the broken clock is right. Twice a day. I mean, that guy's been a chump for years.
It is it is Coach of the Year, not the last 5 years.
Yeah, I got to tell you, there's a lot more coaches who have done a lot more with a lot less nationally, and I'm not even thinking of the University of Michigan State up the road. That to me, this is what I was talking about with Aiden Hutchinson with the Heisman finalist. Michigan finally doesn't completely blow, and it's like the second coming. This is why Spartans, other than the arrogance in Ann Arbor, this is why Spartans don't like Wolverines because these guys show a sign of life, and all of a sudden, it's the second coming. Sorry. I saw a lizard run across the water a couple of days ago when Sergei chased him off a log.
Was Sergei also
running? That was pretty special. That was pretty special. Jim Harbaugh, no es especial.
Well, here's my question. Was Sergei also running across the water?
Yeah, I was.
He's a naturalist.
Not only that, I don't know if you saw that Aiden Hutchinson won the Big Ten Player of the Year too, that the coaches voted on the silver. The Silver Football Award?
Hey, no question, he's a good player. Not one of the top 4 players in the country. Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. He was number 2.
K9 did win the Doak Walker Award.
He did.
He should have been at the Heisman ceremony. Sorry,
but he came in 6th.
There was no player. There's no player with more talent who elevated their team more so than Kenneth Walker. Heisman, finito.
I would say Bryce Young. But
done.
Okay, what's the song, my man?
time.
Never has this segment been set up better than that, Shawn.
I think it was great.
So Shawn is doing what here in Central America we call a junta, where he tries to take over from El Presidente. And let me tell you something, Shawn. Like all would-be dictators, history will curse your name.
What's the song?
Oh, sorry. This is a band named after what our show is like when Shawn isn't there. It's called the Fun Boy 3, and well, let's let the boys take it away.
The people's wrist. They're watching every move we make. We're all included on their list. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. Go nuclear, the cowboy told us. And who am I to disagree? Cause when the madman flicks a switch, the nuclear will go for me. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. Of starvation, but I just cannot see the point. Cause there's so much food here today that no one wants to take away. The lunatics have taken over the asylum. The lunatics have taken over the asylum.
So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I chose this because this is what happens when I go out of town. But no, that's not why. Okay, that's not entirely why. It's partly because of that. But it's also because this month we are doing new wave tunes that you will find on the soundtrack to Ashes, the BBC police procedural that involves time travel and some of the most charismatic cops you'll find this side of the Atlantic, or that side of the Atlantic. And the Fun Boy 3 was an interesting group. They had a very short career, but you know a lot about them, whether you realize it or not, because the Fun Boy 3 were three guys who broke off from the Specials, one of the great ska bands of the new wave era. Mm-hmm. And they had a more stripped down sound, as you probably heard, very sort of basic tune. But you also know a little bit more of their work because Terry Hall, who was one of the three Fun Boys, helped write Our Lips Are Sealed with Jane Wiedlin of the Go-Go's, which are one of our favorite all-girl new wave bands,
Rock and Roll Hall of
all
Fame
times.
members. Yeah.
And one of the things that you, if you did hear a Fun Boy 3 song, you probably heard It Ain't What You Do, It's How You Do It. Not their greatest tunes, but they also helped launch the career of Bananarama, who sing the chorus in It Ain't What You Do, It's How You Do It. They were discovered, or they were, I guess, elevated by Terry Hall. And so that's why we're talking Fun Boy 3 here in Ashes to Ashes month in room 7609. And by the end of the month, for those of you who are intrigued to know anything about Ashes to Ashes, there's a mystery about what's really going on, what's real, what's not real. At the end of the month, spoiler alert, we'll tell you what's really going on in Ashes to Ashes. And don't cry, because this series actually aired over a decade ago. So if you don't know yet, you've had plenty of time to get caught up.
We knew you weren't watching
To
anything
me now,
recent.
this is a new show.
Yeah,
this is a new show to me.
That's like probably the most recent show you've ever seen.
That's right. That's room 769.
Shawn, did you like it?
Yeah, it was nice.
I'm trying to get more out of Shawn today.
El Presidente.
Once more incisive
Can you guys fight
commentary.
again? Can you guys just fight again?
No, Mike's my buddy.
We can't fight. He's always in the bathroom. We could fight over the bathroom, but I'm here.
Hey, have you and Sergei, have you guys fought on your trip? I mean, it's only been 4 days together.
No, I was wondering when there's a thing I have in mind, which is MTI, the Murder Travel Index, like how long you can travel with somebody before you try to snuff them out with a pillow in the middle of the night. But, I mean, my best friend is like 7 days, so make sure to schedule the trip for 5. So there's like, a buffer. I don't try to kill him, but it hasn't come up.
The fact that you even know that that's a thing or what it is kind of frightening for me. But now you can't do it because now it's on tape. You can't kill him.
So I also have a rule, which is never cross a guy with a snake hook and who isn't afraid of crocodiles or venomous creatures. You just don't know what they're capable of. But I do know completely what Sergei's talking about, because I traveled back in 91 with one of my best friends in the world, still one of my best friends. We had a massive falling out in Prague.
What?
Over whether or not, believe it or not, we had a massive falling out over whether or not, and actually split ways. I went on to Yugoslavia when there was still a Yugoslavia. He went on to Greece with a German au pair, so there may have been another thing motivating him. But we had a falling out over whether Shock G and MC Humpty Hump were the same guy. And I said they were, and he insisted they were not.
Oh, well, now that he's passed, I mean, can't you guys mend fences and have him admit that you were correct? Because that's really the most important thing.
We made the peace many, many years ago over that. He also made the German au pair. So I think, sometimes you can be wrong and do all right. But to your North Korea point from a few minutes ago, although to our listener, I'm sure it seems like hours ago, I went to Yugoslavia just before it broke apart, wanting to be in a place where the whole world seemed to be focused. And I went to Belgrade and spent a few days there. And let me tell you something, as much as it seems like what a place to be at, what a time to be there, if you don't speak any of the language, good luck, brother, because Belgrade is not a big tourism center. It's not a place where even people at some of the more international hotels are speaking a lot of English. And I couldn't order a cheese sandwich. It was hard to find out how much a beer cost. It is tough. And I spent most of a day taking the trams trying to find the Tito Museum. And even some of the letters are different in the Yugoslavian alphabet. It's Cyrillic. So it's kind of a cool thing. It sounds very romantic. I understand the motivation, but holy crap, it can be a mess.
Oh, I didn't hear that last part.
It can be a mess. That's what came through.
Okay.
Normally,
well
you guys know when I wrap up, because you're hanging on my every word and staring in rapt attention.
Wait, did you say something?
Which I find a little creepy, but I appreciate.
You're welcome.
So we should thank our donors this week. We had a very generous donation from Bryant, who sent this note. Keep up the great work, gents. So thank you, Bryant. We do rely more and more on donations and the support of our listeners. We're transitioning towards a towards a NPR model. So we do appreciate your donations, and you can make those at mlsoulofdetroit.com. I'll have Mark repeat it just in case I didn't come through because it's that important.
It came through. mlsoulofdetroit.com. There's a donate button there, and bam, it'll pull up PayPal, because that's all we're set up to do right now is take PayPal.
Yes, we can't stress enough that you should go and give us some money. I also want to tell you, we heard from, I believe, an attorney from Bloomfield Hills responding to some comments made by last week's guest, the always compelling, the always contentious Michael Rattay, Esquire, who had made some suggestions that perhaps the legal defense team representing, that was bad, representing the parents
the Crumblies,
of the alleged, the Crumblies, the alleged Oxford high school shooter, might not be up to the task and might have sought out that assignment. We have no evidence to support that, and as we said last week, and my wife, who's covered some cases that they've represented people on, spoke highly of their abilities. So let's make sure that that's out there. But and I think we made all that clear last week too. Not enough for Anjali Prasad, who writes, "Hello, I was extremely repulsed by your guest speaker last night." Rattay reflects, "Since when is it acceptable for members of our profession to blast our colleagues who they neither know personally nor know anything about? In fact, an attorney referred the Oxford case to Smith and Lehman, who are the attorneys representing the Crumbly parents. B, Smith has been practicing law for over 15 years and Lehman for over 10, not the 5 alleged by your guest speaker, who smacks of sour grapes. I thought to post this comment on your Facebook page, but unlike last night's speaker, I have tact and still believe in civility amongst lawyers. Hence, I am emailing you directly." So all fair comment, although I guess I'm not sure what the difference is between saying it on Facebook or sending us an email to share with our audience. But this is the perspective of Anjali Prasad, an attorney who apparently knows all the parties. But hey, man, we have guests on. They're free to speak. That is the power of the First Amendment. We try and provide some context where we have the expertise to do so. And if somebody has a contrary viewpoint, we invite you to reach out to us with a comment, with a rating, or by sending us an email, as Anjali did. And I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm not as proficient as other languages as I am in Spanish. But you can always write us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. And while it's possible, although few people do, you can leave us a voicemail at 313-288-9070. That's Butterfield 89070. There are now people in tourism here in Costa Rica who are furiously subscribing, downloading, and rating the podcast, which we encourage all of you to do. Please rate us. Please subscribe so you can keep up with the latest episodes. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, that's ML Elric, we are really trying to get the live broadcast stronger on YouTube. Please consider subscribing to that. We don't put a ton of content up there, so we will not be spamming you. And if you want to know what's going on with the show, if you want to know what's going on with the gang, if you want to know what's going on with me, you can follow me on Twitter at Elric, that's ampersand ELRICK, or on Facebook at ML No Periods Elric, where we occasionally put some stuff up when Facebook isn't the complete piece of crap that we always find it to be.
Was that a wild animal making that screeching noise?
Yes, that was the which is a local bird. You know, there are more species of bird in Costa Rica than I believe in all of North America.
Oh, gross. Well, that's why I'm never going to Costa Rica. No, thank you.
Yes, that's why you want to ride fast on your motorcycle, because it's harder to get hit.
Birds are the worst.
There's some beautiful creatures here. The bee catcher is a bird that Monty introduced me to, a gorgeous bird that just plucks bees out of the sky while in flight.
Oh, what a dick. Typical bird being a jerk again. Shawn, what are you working on?
And Sergei pointed out some other birds to me. So he's a herpetologist, an ornithologist, and he can put away the cerveza as well.
Oh,
multi-talented. Yep.
Yeah, multi-talented. I don't know, Mark, maybe COVID coming back in a little bit, games starting to get shut down.
Are the leagues really worried about that? I mean, I know the Bulls had a few games moved, right?
Right, and I was in Denver over the weekend, and the Lions were.
Oh, that's right. They only had They lost 19% of their roster.
Yeah, close to it. Now, that wasn't all COVID, but they had injuries and they had some kind of other illness go through, sort of more of a regular flu thing. But there's that, and maybe something on Cade Cunningham and Dave Bing, the former mayor, former Pistons great, who said he wasn't, quote, that guy. And just the idea of what that guy looks like.
I feel like Dave Bing is becoming a sports fan. I mean, that seems to be a little reactionary.
It is, but do we always have to make proclamations or pronouncements, declarations about what that guy is?
Yeah.
2 months into that guy's career.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I know. So I don't know.
After all, Elric did that about Harbaugh.
Yeah, so we need to. I think we need to explore that a little bit.
7 years. I gave him 7 years to work together.
Yeah, you did. No, that's probably fair, Mike. But 3 months, I don't think so.
Well, the irony of it is that I felt the same way as most Michigan fans were ready to move on from him.
Right.
And we've never been more happy to be incorrect about anything.
Well, there's nothing in sports like coming out of the muck, right?
No, it's great. Yeah, it's a good feeling.
So there you go. What's next, Mike?
There may be more muck. I don't know. Sergei, I think, still wants to see a snake. And since we have individual showers, we'll have to hit the wild because it ain't that kind of trip.
No, I think it's beach from here, and we're all downhill back to San Jose when we load you on a plane. So I think we're done with the wildlife. I'm not. I got a year of it coming. Peru for me, and
we'll have to check in with you as it's going on, just out of curiosity, to see how far you make it and how far you go. ML,
and you can get the updates on his social media.
Yeah, we'll throw it out there again.
It's Biker Furper Gringo, FERPER, Biker Furper Gringo, and I know at heart I'm a writer, so starting to post stories and. A lot of connection to people and weird wildlife situations and, just adventure.
And he is a good guide and a good friend because I'll tell you, getting away has been a great thing. And so drat on Mr. Fellhauer in Windsor for dragging me back to reality.
Well, while we're all getting sentimental and everything, I want to jump in and say after how much ML poured his heart and soul and life and finances and family and time and money and everything into improving the city of Detroit, which I sincerely hope he did in the way that you still skew an election in the right direction. You still have an effect. It's my absolute honor and pleasure to invite him down and just try to lay out a parade of R&R and goofiness and a few beers and some adventure mixed in. So. And the company's not terrible either. So it's been great.
Not terrible. That
sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's a great compliment.
It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe called Earth, mostly harmless, but still no place I'd rather be.
I just love it. You're not terrible to be around. I'll second that. That's a good compliment.
No, believe me, 6,000 voters thought I was that terrible that I should not be around. But here we have a constituency of 2, and we're deadlocked. We're going to the recount.
Well, be safe.
We're traveling is holding, so we haven't tried to kill each other. So so far,
get back on the road and be safe, and we will see you in a week. Right?
Yeah, I'll be back in the studio in a week. No souvenirs. But I hope that we'll be able to have a special guest in because there was a really cool cat we wanted to have on last week. Could not make it because, unfortunately, he went to a Tito's party on an empty stomach and apparently got a Tito's handmade hangover. But we're looking to go into the holidays with some great content. And by the way, if you are looking for a last-minute gift, if you want a hoodie or a hockey jersey or a mask or a hat or any of the cool stuff that we sell or a t-shirt and you missed our pop-up store, just send an email to mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. Let me know what you're looking for and I'll see if we can get it to you before the holidays. We have it stored safely not on a container ship in the Panama Canal. And we would love to do nothing more than make your holidays and, frankly, make a little of what they call here colones.
Sounds great.
Shawn, you want to do the honors?
Yes,
okay. I thought they broke up.
I'll tell you one of the things I really miss here in Costa Rica is the unbounded enthusiasm of Mr. Shawn Windsor.
So you want to say it, Mike?
Vámonos, Cyrus.
I know. Okay, there we go.
You do it, Shawn.
Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Do you ride the bus podcast?
No, I ride my bike.
What kind of bike do you have?
It's a sledgehammer.
Dang. You got shocks, pegs. Lucky. You ever take it off any sweet jumps? You got like 3 feet of air that time. Can I try it really quick? Oh.